Here's how to do an oil change on a Firman 3650 generator. If you have a similar generator, your oil change may be slightly different, but they all follow the same general principles. Other than the generator, here are the tools and equipment you're going to need. That is some new oil. Check your owner's manual for the viscosity of the oil. Here we're using 5W30. You're going to need a funnel with a long stem to get into the oil well. You're going to need a wrench with a 12 millimeter, ideally one of these long extenders to go with it to reach into there, something to catch the oil, and then something to catch some drips as well. The first thing you're going to want to do is run the generator for about 10 to 15 minutes. If it's not starting, check my other video on how to start a Firman generator. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set the drip pan underneath this area right here. That's where the oil's about to come out of, and I like to put some newspaper down to catch any drips. Here is the oil plug. That's where you would test the oil, and also where we're going to fill oil. And then here's where the oil comes out. So next thing we're going to do is loosen this. It's a 12 millimeter nut. So here we go, loosening. You're going to give this a few turns in the counterclockwise direction. Remember, lefty-loosey. And if the oil's coming out slowly, you can unscrew that oil cap just a little bit so air can get into the oil reservoir. Once it's loosened, you can hand loosen it the rest of the way. Notice I'm wearing gloves. You never want to come in contact with oil on your bare skin, especially dirty oil. It's really bad for you. So you finish loosening this, and oil's about to flow. Okay, out comes the oil. You'll notice the terrible design here. We've got the oil spilling directly onto the frame. So just note that for now. We're going to clean it up in a bit. So you're going to want to leave this for a little while. Running the generator made the oil thinner as it heats up. So it should spill out, but it's still going to take a while, and you want to make sure you get out all of the old oil, because the stuff at the bottom, the stuff that's the last to drain, is the stuff with all the sediment that you really want to get rid of. So I would leave this for a good 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You're going to want to see it so it's like dripping very, very infrequently, if at all. Okay, so back 10-15 minutes later, you'll notice oil has mostly stopped or completely stopped dripping out of the oil reservoir, and it is still dripping off of this stupid frame because of the design. So now we're just going to clean that up. If you have actual degreaser, that would be a great use for it. I'm just using dish soap. So you basically just use the dish soap to wipe that frame. I'm not going to show that because it's hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time, but you just want to clean that up so you're avoiding potential flammable materials near where there's electricity. Okay, we got that frame mostly cleaned up. It's probably never going to be perfect, but then you're going to put this nut back in, seal off the oil well. Last thing you want to do is add more oil to it. While that's still open, your oil will just go down into the pan, and you're going to want to finger tighten it at first, and then give it some tightening with your ratchet. Again, mine's 12 millimeters. Yours may vary. You want it pretty dang tight, but not so tight that you're not going to be able to undo it next time you go to change the oil, which you should do every year or as your owner's manual recommends. So got that tightened up, and then next we're going to add the new oil. Again, we unscrew here. This is also a dipstick for the oil. You can check your oil level as you use it. You can see how dirty this thing is. We'll focus on it. Yeah, there you go. There's an L at the bottom and an H at the top for the low and high oil level. And so that's what this filter's for, or this funnel. You want one with a long tube. Sometimes you see one with like a hose at the bottom. You're just going to put it in there. And then the next question is how much oil to add. So mine comes with a helpful guide here on the frame. I know the engine size, the engine displacement. You can tell on a Firman model over here. you can see it says 208 cc's. That's the size of the engine. And so I just look at this guide here, and I see 208 cc's needs 600 milliliters of oil. I can see a brand new container of oil is 946, and then most brands of oil have this helpful guide on the side, so you can see it's graduated. So use that to figure out how much you're going to put in. Too little and there won't be enough to do its job. Too much, and that's also big problems for the engine. So now I'll add the new oil. So I have added the oil. I didn't film that, but just like draining the oil, you want to let this sit for a couple minutes. Keep in mind this new oil is at room temperature, so it's going to be a little thicker, and it's going to take a minute to drain down the funnel and into where it belongs. And so you just want to leave that. Otherwise, when you pull the funnel out, you're going to get fresh oil drips everywhere. So I'm just going to leave this for a minute. So I just pulled out the funnel and look what happened. There's fresh oil dripping out. So it looks like despite following the recommended amount of oil to add, it was too much. So I'll note that for next time, 600 milliliters is too much. And perhaps I should add just shy of that, maybe 550 for starters. So let this be a warning to you if you also have the Firman 3650 with the 208 cc engine. So I'm just cleaning that up, just like we cleaned up the dirty oil off of a generator frame. Cleaning up this clean oil as well. You just don't want a lot of oil on the exterior of any type of engine, anything where it's going to get grimy or it could come in contact with electricity. And this is why we wear gloves. So I've put the oil cap slash oil dipstick back on and tightened it and cleaned off the area. I also forgot to mention, if I zoom out a little, you'll see that the generator is up on 4x4s. That's just to give some clearance to get that oil pan out. Speaking of which, so we've got the old oil out, the new oil in, we've cleaned up the area, and now what to do with the old oil. You have to be really careful with this and check your local laws for how to dispose of it. But I've got this whiskey bottle. It's not to celebrate a job well done, although you can do that. I've checked the volume of this empty bottle. It's just slightly larger than the capacity of the oil tank. So I know it'll fit in. And so I can use this funnel again. It fits in the bottle. And I will just drain this very carefully, this old oil, into the bottle, and I save the cap so I can cap it off and dispose of it safely. All right, I'm gonna let that sit for a while too so I can drain out all that old oil into the bottle, and then rinse off that funnel when you're done really well in a utility sink or somewhere that's safe for the rinsed oil to drain into. And then all this stuff that you used for changing the oil, this all has to go in the trash, unfortunately. Even if a plastic thing would normally be recyclable. Same with the newspaper and the oil pan. Last thing to do is start it up. Make sure it works, because you don't want to find out you did something wrong when your power is out. So let's do that. It runs! Thanks for watching. I hope this helped.